to the big show. I am your host, Jerk, and how is everyone out there in YouTube land doing? I know most of the world is suffering under sweltering heat, and it's even a little toasty out here in sunny Los Angeles, though I did wake up to thunderstorms this morning, which was a very welcome change. And speaking of very welcome changes, let's get today's guest out here. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Premium Tier 5 Italian Light Cruiser. Give it up for Duca. That's right, it is Duca time, and that is because all the Italian premium cruisers now have the ability to use SAP. And if you were here for my patch notes video, you'll know that I said, well, excluding the fact that I said this was tier 4, but don't fear, that writer has been fired, but I did say that this could become the best cruiser at its tier with the addition of SAP. And is it? Probably. Is it too good? Probably. I kind of think that Duca should get a bit of a reload penalty with SAP, and it should be removed from the Abruzzi, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, unless you've been living under a rock for the past 2 years or simply haven't played this game before, prior to this update, the damage output the Italian light cruisers could do was fairly minimal. The AP is fine, but it doesn't have any improved penetration angles, and its HE had a low fire chance and no access to equilibrium of power, so you couldn't improve that penetration amount. And as such, I'm not saying that the ship couldn't perform or that you couldn't have a good game or that it wasn't fun, but in the grand scheme of being competitive, it was at a bit of a disadvantage when you remove the skill of the person from behind the wheel. Speaking of, here is the commander modules I am using, and I think that in a few updates, these Italian commanders are going to need to be reworked a little, especially if SAP should go to the Tech Tree Cruiser line, which it absolutely should. But for now, SAP is in testing, and yes, there are issues. The big one I think most have noticed here is that something is going on with SAP and the damage saturation, with areas of ships getting damage saturated very quickly and then taking no more damage. And I have to wonder, has that been affecting the secondaries as well? I would guess that that's the case. I don't know why it wouldn't be the case. So maybe that's something else that we'll be able to look at in the future as well. But this is why we run tests, folks. As I mentioned, the Abruzzi got a reload penalty with SAP, and having played it a bit, I can say negata. I don't think it should suffer. That ship already suffers enough. Not only must it be objectified for being one of the most lovely ships in the game, it also has that strange ability to explode should it scrape a rock. But overall, in my trying it out, SAP is good. It adds something to the Italian line, and it's fun to bonk destroyers with it. But I would be remiss if I said that the addition of SAP has raised my eyebrows this update the most. No, that award would go to Azumagrad. We were speculating how much of a difference the reload and penetration buffs would make, and sweet baby Jeebus, that ship is really good. Now, I only have my Azure Lane Azuma Commander at 14 Legendary 2, but I can say there is a near certain chance that I will get that one all the way to 16 Legendary 4 and boost its penetration and accuracy even more, because already, right now, I am hitting citadels on Montanas at 15.5 kilometers, and in 5 weeks, I won't even have to see those legendary ships anymore. And I have come so close to having them back on the show these past couple of days. It's only a matter of time, and then we're going to have fun talking about that ship. But I digress. Let's get back to the Duca de Hasta Luego. You saw the sap shells deal with the destroyer, and these 152mm shells do about 1200 damage for each penetration, which potentially means, about 12,000 damage in a single salvo, assuming you don't get a citadel. And yes, I know destroyers don't have citadels, but that doesn't mean cruisers don't. And that doesn't mean you can't hit the citadel of a cruiser, but that's coming up. Basically, the charm of this ship is that it is very fast, it has good agility, especially for the tier, and its concealment. I was able to sneak up here, remove the destroyer, and get out again with barely taking a lick of damage. And the best part of that is that no one expects the Italian sea mines, and there we go, we pick up the third ship. Right here, we are seeing a classic jerk maneuver. Look at the direction your team is pointing, and then go the exact opposite way. But what I'm really doing here is going back to take care of this de Grasse. They have been terrorizing the blue team, and they are having themselves a very good game, but I'm afraid I can't let that aggression stand, man. Now, I'm trying to find out what the ricochet chance and guarantees are for these 152s versus the 203s, but you should know that sap shells can ricochet. It happens, like they did right there. But, as I mentioned before, they can also citadel rarely. Nonetheless, we are about to finish this de Grasse and pick up our fourth ship sunk, and then it's just going to be a matter of picking up number 5. But who's it going to be? Is it going to be the destroyer, or is it going to be the battleship? Considering I'm still spotted, I was thinking that the destroyer might be out here, but they actually are not. I believe we're going to see them pop some smoke pretty soon. But either way, I am turning back towards this Bayern because that's my backup plan, right? That is my go-to option if everything else fails, because that's what I'm usually thinking about this. I'm like, all right, I've got the one that I want, but I also need to be thinking about what I can get if it doesn't work. And there we see the smoke, and so we know where the Mahan is. But that doesn't mean I won't try and get them still, too. There they are. Oh, but they are right behind the land. And I'm going to zoom in here, and you're going to see the indicator that my shells would be blocked. So I'm just holding this and waiting. Holding and waiting till I see the whites of their eyes, and I'm just thinking, maybe this isn't going to happen. You know what? Let's just take the shot right there. It is low enough. Maybe 1 or 2 shells can get over, right? And I mean, we do hit them for 1, but we don't pick it up. So, time to rush the Bayern. It's worth mentioning for any new player, I guess, this wouldn't be the maneuver that I would do if this were the beginning of the game. And it wouldn't be the maneuver I would do if there was a risk that we would lose this game. But there really is no risk at this point. Well, I mean, okay, maybe there's a little bit of a risk, but there's not a big enough risk that it's going to stop me. I was like, I wonder if the Bayern's guns are facing this way. Yep, they are. And here we are seeing me aim too low repeatedly and seeing that the sap is indeed shattering. I'm trying to aim above that torpedo belt. I'm still just shattering. Let's aim up even higher. And we get a couple pins, but at this point I'm just waiting to dodge the salvo. I think they did shoot once, but at this point they're gonna hit the ground and it's not gonna matter, and we will drop the kids off at the pool, and in the process we will pick up Kraken 403 and the Duca de Hasta. Alright, let's see this scoreboard. 2,399 base XP for a good game, and would you look at that? De Grasse with a very good game, but GG's to all involved, and now I can retire from tier 5 again. If you have switched your shells to sap, go ahead and give this video a like. If you're planning to leave HE on because fire damage is easier, give it a dislike. Questions, comments, leave them down below, and if you want to see who we get back in the studio next time, think about hitting subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there for another, and we will talk then.